Beliefs increase or decrease our possibilities. Going for goals is about believing in possibilities. Al has long been drawn to the idea that belief can shape a person's potential. He had seen it in others, athletes pushing beyond their limits, survivors finding strength they didn't know they had, ordinary people achieving the extraordinary simply because they believed they could and worked at it like they knew they would. But after his motorcycle crash left him hemiplegic, paralyzed on his left side, severely speech impaired, and very disoriented, the concept became more than just an interesting idea. It became personal. Now, he wasn't just thinking about belief in an abstract way. He was living inside the question. What did he believe about his recovery? Did he think his body could have more than the doctors predicted? Or would he let his new reality define what was possible? These thoughts followed him into every therapy session, every moment of frustration, and every small victory. His recovery wasn't just about his body. It was about his mind and which of his goals he was willing to believe was still possible. Was Al willing to set and work toward goals he may not be able to reach? Believing in his physical abilities was just one piece of the puzzle in Al's rehabilitation goal-seeking efforts. Recovery wasn't just about muscles and movement, but also about rebuilding the mind and managing emotions. The challenges he faced went beyond learning to walk again or regaining strength. After a serious injury, especially one that affects the brain, the road to recovery is just as much about mental resilience as it is about physical effort. Head injuries often create roadblocks that most people don't think about until they're faced with them. Memory can slip away like sand through fingers, making it hard to remember what was said just moments ago. Simple tasks, like following a conversation or keeping track of time, can become frustrating struggles. On top of that, emotions can be unpredictable. Damage to the hypothalamus, the small but influential part of the brain that regulates emotions, can leave a person feeling like they are on an emotional roller coaster. One moment calm, the next overwhelmed by frustration or sadness. These emotional swings aren't just reactions to the difficulties of rehab. They are part of the injury itself, something Al had to work through just as much as his physical limitations. Rehab specialists don't just rely on traditional therapy to rebuild these essential mental skills. Instead, they turn to something that seems much more straightforward: games. But these aren't just any games. They're carefully chosen activities designed to stretch and train the mind to adapt. Memory games help sharpen recall, challenging the brain to rebuild pathways that injury has disrupted. Word puzzles, logic challenges, and problem-solving exercises force the mind to make new connections, strengthening the ability to focus and reason. Even social games, where Al had to read facial expressions, anticipate reactions, and respond appropriately, helped him regain emotional awareness and control. Reaching mental and emotional goals through these exercises was just as crucial as reaching physical goals through the physical therapy sessions that strengthened his body. Piece by piece, Al was rebuilding himself in movement, thought, memory, and emotion. Like his physical rehab, progress came slowly, but with daily determination to reach his goals, he gained ground every day, week, month, and year. Okay, without further ado, here's Al.
Thanks, Liam. Hello, fellow students of life. After my coma, I woke up to a range of physical, mental, and emotional goals, some small, some so big they scared me. Sometimes, they were overwhelming. My first goals were about regaining the ability to do basic things: tying my shoes, getting dressed, holding a cup without dropping or spilling it. That took effort I had never considered. And then there were the bigger goals that would mean absolute freedom: walking longer distances, climbing stairs without someone hovering behind me, and feeling like I could move through the world again without needing constant help. I noticed something early on in my goal-seeking rehab efforts. What I believed about my chances of recovery mattered. When I let myself dwell on the limitations, I hesitated. I pulled back. Fear of failing could make me not even want to try. But on the days when I focused on progress, even the tiniest sign that things were improving, I felt more willing to push myself. If I can stand and balance for 3 seconds, I might be able to stand for 5 or 10 seconds by next week, or even take a step. The belief that something better was possible wasn't just a nice thought, it changed how I acted, worked, and handled setbacks. Rehabilitation wasn't just about physical goals. It was a mental battle. Whenever a therapist introduced a new exercise, I had to decide whether it would help. I barely put in the effort if I thought it was useless. But I saw results when I believed in the process and the idea that hard work would pay off. They weren't fast, but results did happen. As the weeks turned into months, my belief in my possibilities grew. Small victories accumulated, building a foundation for larger ones. I wasn't just testing a theory about belief, I was proving it to myself, step by step. If I focused on what I could do instead of what I couldn't, I found more ways forward. Progress wasn't always a straight line, but every small success showed me I had a say in how far I could go. Looking back, I can see that my most considerable limits weren't just physical. They were in my mind, in what I thought was possible. Belief and effort worked together, you couldn't have one without the other. That realization changed everything. It transformed what seemed impossible into something worth pursuing. Ultimately, it wasn't just my body that changed, it was how I saw myself and my future. The most important part of my rehab I had full control over was my ability to set and work toward meaningful goals. In my rehabilitation experience, having realistic and meaningful goals has been key to making progress. Rehabilitation and life in general are about remembering that the progress we make is often proportional to the effort we put in, which is determined by the goals we set.